there everybody, Photaku here again. What we have this week for review is Alien Covenant, which is unfortunately disappointing. Acting as a sequel to Prometheus, yet still trying to be a prequel to Alien, I kind of find it hard as to figure out what exactly Ridley Scott was going for, since the first one felt so detached and almost like a different sci-fi movie with all of a sudden Alien at the end of it, and then this movie focusing more on the alien, but it doesn't even really feel like that much of a prequel to the original Alien. Its premise is still following what was set up in the first movie about humanity kind to want to discover where its origin came from. At least in a small little cameo that we have with Michael Fassbender reprising his role as David to later be acting as an android again, but as Walter. Here, it's kind of like they're on a voyage to find a different planet. In the middle of it, they find a distress signal, or rather, a weird signal that they find on the planet where the ship from Prometheus had landed. So, when they go to investigate, obviously, there are some people who are a bit weary of it, and then it just becomes a sci-fi horror movie from there when they discover that there is a horrible monster waiting for them. Now, that would be cool to just be a premise about a sci-fi terror movie, and that would have been fun. But here, we already know enough about the xenomorphs that they're not even that scary anymore. In fact, it even throws in a different type of parasite in the movie so that you can really just, get taken for a loop. It's not exactly what you expect. It's still vicious, and I was like, okay, I'm liking this. Also, Fassbender's still doing a great job in this. And we have Catherine Waterston, who is great as Daniels. It's cool. And even Danny McBride in this as Tennessee has a very emotional arc, and that's what's really cool. He plays it nicely, even though I've known Danny more for doing just a bunch of comedic stuff in other films. But it's a shame because the direction here is so way off and trying to tie up some loose ends from the previous movie that it just doesn't feel fun. It's not really that terrifying. You already know what's coming. And that's the thing with the xenomorphs. You can't really make them scary anymore. They're vicious. I think the last time I was scared of it was playing Alien Isolation on the PS4. And man, is that AI terrifying. But here, it doesn't really work as much anymore. The first Aliens, yes, was terrifying for what it was. It was so unknown. Everything was well initiated, played out. And even so, and I don't want to be here who wants to say that, animatronics or practical effects are better than CGI. Because you can play them both off nicely. I mean, Alien vs. Predator. At least the first Alien vs. Predator was good in this. That one was just a solid, decent movie. But here, you just don't really get the feel for it like you did in the previous movies. And what I'm saying about not really focusing on using xenomorphs unless, you're going to do something fascinating with them, it's just because when you're not necessarily scared of something anymore, it doesn't work into the sci-fi terror aspect of it. So you end up just using it for, maybe an action sequence or something that gets you involved. That's why Aliens is such a great sequel. Yes, it follows off from the previous one, but it goes more for an action-packed ride now that you're more aware of what the xenomorph was. And even with years later, some questionable sequels, and then why AVP is so cool is because it's Alien versus Predator. So, it's not as much of a fun ride as I would enjoy. It's not something that's necessarily scary. And it doesn't even tie up all the loose ends from the previous movie, just enough to figure out what had happened to the ship, its crew, and the survivors from the previous one. But that's about it. Otherwise, there's not really much investment to go and see this movie. Outside of, xenomorphs and a really cool action sequence between Daniels and, oh my gosh, the xenomorph upon that ship. That part's cool, but it's not worth the price of admission. And I give this movie a 2 out of 5. Really disappointed, and I wish I could have enjoyed more of it instead of already knowing what was going to happen. It was predictable, typical, and that's a shame. But yeah, anyway, what did you think about it for anybody that went to go see it, or for anybody that's interested to watch it just because they want to see just the conclusion that happened from Prometheus. Whatever you feel like sharing, if you enjoyed it, if you didn't, please feel free to do so in the comment section below. And please remember to give this video a like, share, and subscribe to WasNS videos if you enjoyed the content. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time.